Hi, everybody asks me who are not gang members, I get emails all the time. What is the market going to do? What's the market going to do? Well, the market's going to keep going up until they stop doing what they're doing. And what they're doing, I'm going to explain in a few minutes. Remember, we had a crash? We had the stock market crash. I'll just use this. Remember, the stock market crashed in 2008, came all the way down like this, then it stopped in 2008 right here. Then all of a sudden, the market started to go up. Do you remember? Okay, so how did they push the market up? They came up with a plan. Bernanke and Obama came up with a way to cheat. And the market started to go up. And then when Obama was gone, first you had Bush, then you had Obama, and then you got Trump. Okay, so they came up with a plan, okay, and it's called quantitative easing. Simply means what they do is the Federal Reserve prints money. And when they print money, they take that money and they give it to the banks. When they give it to the banks, turn around and they loan it to the CEOs of companies. And the CEOs of companies take that money and they buy their own shares back. Now, by buying their own shares back, here's what happens. Let's say when the market crashed and your stock was at $110 right here, and you're a CEO of a company. Now the stock's at $10. Now we had a start. Well, of course, there was no earnings, no profits, so that they were worried that quarter that stock was going to drop from $10. So here's the stocks at $10, and the stock outstanding shares are 15 million. So here's what they made sure so that they could rig the market. So the CEO who had shares worth $10 a share and he had 15 million outstanding shares, all he had to do is to reduce the amount of shares outstanding. He reduced it from 15 million to 5 million. Exactly what he did. Okay, how did he do that? Well, because they call it quantitative easing, stock buybacks. They printed the money. The Treasury Department prints it, gives it to the Federal Reserve. Federal Reserve gives it to the banks. The banks turn around and they loan it to the company CEOs near free, almost no interest. He comes in, he reduces the amount of shares from 15 million, okay, down to 10 million. That way, instead of the stock before doing that, if they reported earnings when the stock was at $10 and they had 15 million shares outstanding, the stock would have dropped to $7. Okay, and then the next quarter would have kept dropping, and the market would have had another crash. Because when you have a stock market that crashes and $7 trillion, you wiped out in the stock market. You're just not going to turn your stock from $10 back up to $110 in a couple of weeks. It'd take you like 50 centuries. So they had to do something. So they did what was once a felony. They turned around and they decided to keep printing money, give it to the CEOs to reduce their own outstanding shares. So now you're spreading your $10 share over, instead of 15 million shares, just 10 million shares. So the stock, instead of going from 10 to 7, went from 10 to 13. Hey, look at that, 10 to $13. And the first thing they did is turn around and make sure all the bank stocks would go up first, because the bank stocks lead the whole market. Once they did that with the bank stocks went up 120% in about less than 3 months. Remember, it's all fake, because remember what they do. They have to reduce the amount of shares they have, and they spread their earnings over less shares, and that pushes the price up. That's called quantitative easing. They've been doing this all the way up from 2008 up here until 2018, and that was in October 2018 right here. And remember, the market finally crashed. Well, of course, because guess what? Because the debt for corporations went from like $200 billion up to $9 trillion. Okay, $9 trillion. Corporations can't survive on $9 trillion, okay, of debt. The market's going to crash again. Of course it's going to crash. But they don't care, because by now the very, very wealthy, the 1 percentile, the 1/100th of 1 percentile, they became very rich over the last 10 years with this scheme. They don't care about you with the 401k. They don't care about the smallest guy on Main Street. They don't care about you at all. They got very rich with this stock buybacks. Well, now the market crashed. Well, Trump came in. He doesn't want the market to crash. He just started to become president. He's having fun at it, remember? And he was going to clean it all up. Remember, he said he's going to clean it all up. Stop all this fake stuff, this stock buybacks and all this. Well, guess what? He joined the party and did the same thing. That's what he's doing right now. So let me show you what he did. So he came in, and if you remember this last year, they dropped interest rates 3 times. Well, that wasn't enough. Well, he's got to get to November. So when they ran this back up from January 2019 up until May of 2019. That was it. They couldn't move this market. Every time they moved, it collapsed. They moved it, it collapsed. So finally, they decided right here that they would do QE and be aggressive again. They were selling. Look, they weren't doing QE anymore. In fact, what they're doing is we're getting rid of all the stocks that they were buying, the Federal Reserve. Now they decided to do exactly what they did in 2008. See it right here? So now you see this red line here and this red line here. They're buying $65 billion a month to push the stock market up. As long as they continue to do QE by $65 billion a month, the stock market will keep going up. That's what you're seeing going on right here. So here's the reduction in QE. Now they're back to doing QE all over again, just like they did in 2008. See, that's the trick. So he's got to do this between now and November to get elected. This could be a great opportunity to make some money. But all you got to know is if it doesn't work, you got to get out, right? Well, if you join my gang, you'll have the same color-coded chart that I have right here that I designed. It tells you when to get out when it's red, tells you when to get in when it's green. So why don't you sign up for 10 days free? You get the color-coded chart free and you get my gang membership free. And right now, this is why you see this going up. Just put this picture in your head. It's going up because, again, Trump's boys are printing $65 billion a month so that so they can go buy Treasury. That drives the dollar down. By driving the dollar down, it pushes the stock market up. Okay? So for more information, join my gang, philsgang.com. Get the chart free for 10 days. The color-coded chart, same thing as you see here. And get my membership free for 10 days. See you on the charts.